Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? It is great to have you with me. It is the inaugural Thursday Trio. What's Thursday Trio? Well, it's halftime of the Thursday night football game. The Vikings are not playing. So I figure, you know what? Instead of me trying to cut up a video and do all my edits with it and produce and let it drop on Friday morning, I just figure I hit you up with a little live here tonight. As Bill O'Reilly once said, bleep it. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Couple quick hitters just tonight to get your appetite wet. Don't forget to join me on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Central Time for the Purple and Gold pregame show as we get ready to take the energy out of the lightning bolts that are the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. Let me get a couple of shout outs in here real quick. Roger in the building. What's going on, Roger? Good to see you. Thank you kindly for joining me. We got Grandpa Dave in the building. Hey. I'd ask you what you're drinking, but I know it's not the leaded type. It's unleaded for a couple more weeks. Everybody show a shout out to Grandpa Dave here to his quick and speedy recovery. We got Mateo in the building. What's cracking, man? I'm just cracking the mic tonight here real quick. Again, this is going to be a short one, just for the halftime entertainment. You know, the Giants thought that they were going to hang with the 49ers for a bit. Congratulations. Oh, we were keeping it close. Now we down 2 touchdowns. Oh, they just kicked a field goal. Okay. What's going on, Vaughn? Shout out, Vaughn. What's going on? Good to see you. There's my guy, T-Bass. What's going on, T-Bass? Good to see you. I appreciate the shout out last night on One Bar and Lumpicus. And shout out to One Bar and Lumpicus. Those two dudes, they just got it going on. They got like the best show ever. And they are hilarious. Boy, they will let any two. SKOL for life in the building, coming off the top rope right off the bat. Drop Shot Jake is in the house. What's going on, Drop Shot? Good to see you. What's everybody? Yeah, we need this dub in the worst way. I'm going to talk a little bit about the game, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the news here. I'll save a little bit of the breakdown for this Sunday, but what's going on? Northfius in the building. What's going on, Northfius? Shout out Northfius, as always. Anytime Northfius in the building, I got a point to that beautiful flag he got going on here. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. Wipe your feet at the door. Hit them like buttons. And if this is your first time seeing me, you don't have to comment, but we're a welcome group. We're an open group. And whenever you get on into the chat, we shout you out. And if it's your first time, we got a special shout out for you for anybody joining us. But before we get to the trio, y'all know how we start my show. We give shout outs to everybody in the building, but we also give shout outs to those who don't get shouted out enough. Shouted out. Is that the right way to say it? I don't know. Special shout out, as always, goes to the brave men and women who are active or veteran members of our military, our armed forces, who sacrifice so that we could have the freedoms to sit here on a Thursday night and just yap on YouTube, talk about the Minnesota Vikings, our team, and the NFL in general. For your hard work and sacrifice, thank you so kindly. To the brave men and women who are members of our police, fire, and EMS services, who, when there is tragedy, are the ones who run towards the danger to help us get away from it. Thank you so very much for all that you do, putting your lives on the line every single day to keep us safe. To the doctors, nurses, frontline workers, home health care providers that take care of us when we are unable to take care of ourselves. These group of men and women who I just described at times have very, very thankless jobs, and we do not say thank you to them enough. So every time I got a show in front of this microphone, I'm going to say thank you to those people who allow us to enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy each and every day of our lives. So thank you so kindly to all y'all for everything that you do. All righty. Who else? Take that purple pill, just do it. Oh, shout out Joey in the building. That's what you talking about. SKOL from Hampton, Virginia since 1974. Shout out Joey in the building. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate you. Everybody give a hello to Joey for coming on by here tonight. You are quite welcome, Northfius, and thank you for everything that you have done. And as Grandpa Dave always says, no job is too small. No job is absolutely too small. T-Bass says, I forgot the Niners traded a bunch of picks for McCaffrey. Do they even need high draft picks? And that always no, they really don't, T-Bass. See, the 49ers did a great job of actually hitting on their draft picks. And you know what else the 49ers did? For those of y'all who might not remember? after they went to the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship game a couple times, they endured a couple of mediocre to bad seasons. And then they built their team up with high draft picks. Now they hit on them. They still hit on them, and they deserve credit for that. But they didn't try to just keep their window open with the same old team. But I digress. That's another story. That's another topic of conversation for another day. That's off-season stuff. But let's get to the topics at hand tonight. The Minnesota Vikings did a trade, excuse me. Boy, come on. Hit them buttons. Get them buttons right. Get them buttons right. Vikings trade for Cam Akers. And they traded, get this. This is what is hilarious. They did a pick swap in the year 2026 because that's the furthest out you can go. You can only go out 3 seasons. They couldn't have done this in 2028. Otherwise, they might have. Okay. So the Vikings are going to get Cam Akers for literally pennies on the dollar. Literally pennies on the dollar. They swap a 6th and a 7th round pick. That is like the furthest and the least amount you can trade is to trade a 6th round pick for a 7th round pick and a player. That's like 7 deuce offsuit in Texas Hold'em. That is how little they gave up to get this guy. Now, again, we talked earlier this week on SKOL for Days on the Monday recap show about how absolutely atrocious this run game has been. And whether that is a matter of Alexander Mattison just not being able to be the number 1 running back, or whether that's this offensive line just being absolute trash in the running game, Alexander Mattison has rushed 19 times for 69 yards. Ew. But the point is, they said enough's enough. The Vikings could have gone one more week without making a move for a Cam Akers. And okay, yeah, you brought in Dalton Risner. Hopefully adding some depth to your offensive line is going to help both the running game and the passing game. But the simple truth is that they said enough's enough. I don't know what's going on with Kenny Wong. It's apparent to me that he might be out for more than just 4 weeks. To make a move at this point to get this guy, and again, I know they got him for literally absolutely nothing, but boy, oh boy, this run game, absolutely terrible. Now, Cam Akers with the Rams is familiar with Kevin O'Connell and Wes Phillips, the Vikings offensive coordinator and head coach, unrespectively. So maybe they feel that just getting this guy in the building is going to be easy enough to add some depth to the running back position. Kind of like TJ Hawkinson last year. He came right in and played. He didn't only get 10, 12 snaps because he needed to learn the playbook, get into the offense, that sort of thing. He knows the offense. So I anticipate that this guy, he's not going to start. And I'm not saying he's going to get 20, 25 carries, but he's going to be involved. Or at the very least, he should be involved. He should be. As I said the other night, you got to get this running game on track, whether that's toss sweeps, jet sweeps, draw plays, go back to basics, do something. So hopefully, with the addition of Cam Akers, as well as the addition of Dalton Risner, this running game will actually be able to get on track, because twofold, as brilliant as Kirk Cousins for the most part sans the turnovers, some of which you can't really put on him, some of it you can a little bit, but whatever. Sans that, this passing game has been spectacular. But if you're a one-trick pony, you're easy to defend. And as good as they have been through 2 weeks in the passing game, and I'll get to that as my third topic tonight, you need to have balance. And I'm sorry to my boy Rap. I see you in the Rap. Shout out Rap in the building. I'm not listening to this. Well, Dalvin Cook rushed for 1,000 yards behind this line. First off, it's only been 2 games. Second off, Dalvin wouldn't have done anything different behind this. We've seen Dalvin in New York do absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, bro. I love you. But no, don't talk to me about Dalvin Cook would have done better, because he wouldn't have. How many negative plays did he have last year again? How many zeros did he have last year? No. Is it possible that one of Dalvin Cook's carries might have gotten broken off for a big one? Maybe, but no, it wasn't worth the extra $9 million you would have had to pay him. So hopefully whoever's running, whether that's Alexander Mattison, says, all right, they just traded for another running back. Maybe that lights a fire under him. And that's no disrespect to Alexander. I'm just saying maybe he's just not that type. Maybe he is the type of running back that does need to be the second head of a 2-headed monster. I don't know, but we'll see. but we'll see. Let me get some shout outs, because I know I got some people in the building I ain't shout out yet. We got our guy Dave Thibodeau in the building. What's up, Dave? Good to see you. Joker Nation, what is going on? Thank you so kindly for joining me as well. Tonight, a 7th rounder threw a touchdown to a 7th round. That's, you know what? They just got that magic potion, T-Bash. They just got that magic potion. You are correct. You live on a Thursday. You know what? I just had some inspiration. I was going to shoot a video rap. I said it at the beginning before you got here. I was going to shoot up a video, talk about Akers, talk about Kirk. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go live. Let's just do it live. I'm only going to be on for a little bit. I'm going to do for the halftime. So we ain't going to be on too long. Shane in the building. What's going on, Shane? Purple Gang, you got that right. SKOL State of Mind is in the building. What is going on? D Woods, good to see you. I saw you and Dave going at it on Twitter, and I was laughing my ass. Yeah, you let Dave know what's up for real. You know what is up for real. Oh yes, that $13 million mistake, Davenport, is less dependable than a 4 pickup. I call him Marcus Davenpoop at this point. No disrespect. Well, actually, yes. Again, stuff happens. You get injured, but man, oh man, that is not looking good right now. Shout out to the little nephew, JJ Vikes, in the building. Y'all sub JJ Vikes if you don't sub him already. This guy is a teenager living out my dream. I didn't have this YouTube thing when I was his age. If I was, would I be doing it? Well, maybe, but this kid's got it going on. So y'all sub him up if you haven't already. What's up, Shane? Again, Justin Jefferson. Hey, I'm going to get to that. It might be a great trade if Thomas figures out that running the ball is part of the football. Yes, hopefully. See, I didn't even get to your comment, and I knew you was going there. Yeah, Dalvin. First of all, it's 2 games, Rap. 2 games. Why don't you find me Dalvin Cook's 2 worst games last year and see if those 2 add up to be around 69 yards. I'm guessing you can find a couple of games from Dalvin Cook last year where he didn't do all that well. But again, I've said my piece on that. Addison, you know what? I'm going to get to that. I think they all going to go off this week. Yeah, I love that one. I just love that one, Rap. I'm going to put that up there. Sarah in the building. What's going on, Sarah? Thank you so much for joining me. Y'all were supposed to wait until I got to the end to say put your predictions in. Y'all got them in here already. That's all right. 2026. I was about to say, he might not even be around by the time that trade actually, those pick swaps actually happen, but you are correct. Man, don't talk to me about the Pro Bowl. The Pro Bowl don't mean nothing, bro. Come on. Stop the cap, Rap. You better than that. All right. Topic number 2. Where's the beef? Because we don't have much on that defensive line, ladies and gentlemen. We all know it at this point. Now, everybody talking about Akeem Hicks. Linval Joseph, and Ndamukong Suh. All are available. All are a touch or 2 past their prime. But at this point, would they be better than what the Vikings got right now? Probably. Now, I really particularly, if I had to choose, I would pick Linval Joseph simply because we know the guy, simply because I know that Ndamukong Suh is only somewhat motivated to play when he wants to. He's got a little of that Randy in him, except he doesn't have the Randy talent anymore. But everybody talking about Akeem Hicks. So let's go with that one here tonight. Would I take Akeem Hicks for veterans minimum? Yes, I would. Now, again, much like Dalton Reisner, he's not going to come in and be the savior. He's not going to be the guy that just instantly turns the Vikings defense into the Zim Reapers. But for a guy of his size, his stature, still was halfway decent with Tampa Bay last year, wasn't the one-man wrecking crew that he was with the Chicago Bears, stopping us time after time after time, sacking Aaron Rodgers time after time after time when he was with the Bears. But would I take him on this team? Yes. Now, again, it's been somewhat circulated around the Vikings community, whether that be the YouTube content creators or a little bit on Twitter, that he doesn't get along with the Vikings defensive line coach. And but for that, Akeem Hicks might be here already. I don't know how much stock I put into that, because at the end of the day, if this player, any player, would improve your team, you find a way to sit the 2 guys down and say, all right, what happened? Why y'all don't like each other? Why can't you guys coexist? Because to me, if I'm owning an NFL franchise or I'm the head coach of a team and there's a player out there that could make my defense better, but somehow it would be a bad working environment or not the best working environment, I at least bring him in here for a visit and a sit down. Do the old Sopranos thing. We need to have a sit down and we need to talk through this and we need to come to an arrangement. We need to come to an understanding. I don't understand if that is the reason. Just like I didn't understand the Dalton Reisner. Why did you wait for that long? I've said it before. I'll say it again here real quick. I don't understand why they waited on Dalton Reisner. I wanted him back in June. I said, get him in the building for training camp in August. Whatever pennies on the dollar you might have saved against your salary cap to not have to guarantee his full contract. Listen, with all of the injuries that this Vikings offensive line has sustained, and we don't even know if Christian Darrisaw is going to play. We don't know. It's highly unlikely that Garrett Bradbury is going to play. So you brought the guy in here for some depth. So he's probably going to be hitting his targets to get his full $4 million. Why you waited 3 weeks or 2 weeks is beyond me. But I say the same thing about Akiem Hicks. If you're going to make these kinds of moves where you are going to hold on to Danielle Hunter and not trade him when you could have got something for him because you want to be competitive this year. You found a way to keep Harrison Smith because you want to be competitive this year. You drafted Jordan Addison to replace the production of Adam Thielen to be competitive this year. You make the move for Dalton Reisner finally, and now you make a trade for a running back. If you're going to make all of these moves saying, no, after 0-2, we're not giving up, we're not throwing in the towel, we're not going to tank, or we're not going to trade off our pieces, then bring Akiem Hicks into this building, get him here, and shore up your defensive line. Because while I understand Brian Flores' strategy last Thursday, a week ago, which is we're going to let you run, we're not going to let Jalen Hurts run, and we're not going to let Jalen Hurts pass all over us. At some point, when you're picking your poison, when that first poison that you picked is about to kill you, you've got to find an antidote, and you have to be able to do it on the fly. For whatever reason, they haven't brought a defensive line that could show a player that can play on the defensive line that could shore up this defense. I don't know why, but get Akiem Hicks in the building and get him in here now. That's what I say. But hey, I'm just a guy on YouTube. I don't run the team. Tell me what y'all think. You probably guys already did. Let's see what we got going on here. Back to the comments here. Cam Akers will help reduce some of that pressure on Alexander Matters. I sure hope so. No Dalvin, no win over Indy or Buffalo. Maybe, maybe not. But again, you saw, if Dalvin Cook had accepted the pay cut that they were offering him and they brought him back at a much reduced salary, fine. But no, it's kind of like what my compatriot Dave from Minnesota Sports Talk said towards the end of the season and all during the offseason. If we're going to not utilize the running game properly, I'd rather do it with cheaper options than an expensive one. Shout out Angel in the building. What's going on? Cheers, Scolders. Cheers back to you, Angel. Cheers back to you. Thank you so kindly for joining me this evening. We got Maverick in the house. I knew Maverick show up for me. I knew Maverick would show up to me. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you. Ah, there she is. Mary Fisk in the building. What's going on? Chicken Soup for the Soul, the matriarch of this Vikings YouTube community. Thank you so very much for joining, Mary. Shout out Mary. I hope you're feeling better, Mary. I know I've seen you in a few shows the last couple of weeks, so I'm assuming you're doing better. But let me know how you're doing. Now we're paying 3 running backs to make up for the absence of Coin. Yeah, and we're still paying half of what we would have paid Dalvin Cook. Anyway, moving on. Live, baby. You know that, Shane. Shout out to you. And yes, it's 2 games. If it gets to be 3 or 4, then you're right. Then we got to start talking again. San Francisco, well, there's a little bit of that too. I'm going to dip to make another video. All right, yo. We'll be watching for you. We'll be watching when we get done. I'm not going to be going much longer because the second half finished starting. I still got 1 more to go. But shout out to my nephew there. Surrogate nephew, that is. Rap says, I'm going Titanic Rose on a bit. I'll never let go. You know what? Do the else a bit and let it go. But I digress. Sandy, you know what? I'm going to start that one. I'm going to come back to you. Kellen Moore, nice. I haven't seen any of the game yet. So I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but that's all right. SKOL for life in the building. Hopefully we can stop the run. Yeah. I see my, well, you were there, but if you're not knowing what I'm saying on that, absolutely. Went on about a 6-minute rant on Monday about that. It's absolutely terrible. I heard it was Reisner who didn't want to sign, wanted more money. Okay. You know what? I would have given him a touch more just to get him in the building. It would have been worth it to me. JDT93, I'm thinking Hicks wants too much money. That's a possibility too. I'll give you that. But shout out JDT. You know what? I like the JD part. I like those initials, but I digress. Shout out JDT 93. Everybody say shout out to him. What's going on, Zach? Shout out to Zach in the building. What's going on? Good to see you here as well. And I'm going to make sure I get this one right. Cavalier Panda 50. We have so many injuries. That is for dang Skippy. You are correct. We only have one center right now. Yeah. I think that Reisner has the capability of playing backup center if worse comes to worse, but we'll see. But shout out to Cavalier in the building. I think this is the first time I've seen you. So we give you that special shout out the first time. Everybody say hello to Cavalier and thank you kindly. Let's just hit the reset button here real quick. Wipe your feet at the door. Hit that like button if you didn't on your way in, and hit that subscribe button if you don't already subscribe to me. We got my guy Yogi in the building. What's going on, Yogi? I saw your video today about Akeem Hicks. So after my show is over, go on over to Purple Rain 247. Yogi had a touch on that as well. We hardly play Chandler or anything. Yeah, I don't think they trust Chandler at this point. I don't think they trust him at all. Shout out the deer in the building. Hopefully Madison takes the Acre signing as a kick in the rear. Yeah, I said that a moment ago. Hopefully that'll motivate him. And again, I just don't think he's the type of guy that can be a lead guy. I think he's just the type of guy that's good in a dual role. That's what I'm starting to think. But I digress. Hasn't played center since high school. Well, no, you're right. I'm just saying he's got the capability. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Trayvon Diggs. That really does suck. If you didn't see my sketch of the curmudgeon versus the punk, I actually had the Dallas Cowboys doing something here because I like their defense, and that is going to take a major blow. Trayvon Diggs out for the season with I believe a torn ACL if I recall correctly. But yeah, I know he was limited in practice today, but when you're talking about a bad back as a center, that's like concussions. It's just reoccurring. I mean, you're bent over and hunched over all the time. You got a bad back. That's something that takes a while to get over there. You right though, Shane. Shout out Shane. The drama in Chicago. The only thing that could make that drama more delicious if it was Green Bay. You are right. I don't know what in the hell's going on with that team. Justin Fields, I had your back for a while, saying that you never were surrounded by the proper infrastructure, but to just throw your coaches under the bus like that, come on, dude, you got to be better. All right, I'm way over on my time because I like interacting with you guys. So let me get to my last topic here. Time to ball out. Which is not to say that Kirk Cousins hasn't balled out so far this season. I mean, heck, he's number 2 in the NFL in passing yards, top 5 in all pertinent passing stats, and probably would actually be the league leader in passing yards if not for too many dumbass tight end screens. But I digress. Listen, everybody wants to have their opinion of Kirk, and everybody's got one. That's fine. But here's what I'm going to say about Kirk Cousins coming up this weekend. It's a noon game. So I don't want to hear, we don't have to listen to any of this primetime bologna sandwich. We don't have to listen to, Kirk Cousins can't get it done in primetime or big games. You know what? This is a big game. This is a big game between two teams that are 0-2. And for all intents and purposes, the loser of this game, assuming it doesn't end in a tie, the loser of this game is not eliminated from the playoffs, but they basically are because they will have no margin of error for the rest of the season. You have got to come out, Kirk, and say, you know what? Not everything went well week 1. Now, I'm not saying, it was all his fault or nothing like that. Not a whole lot of things went right in that first half in week 2 in the first part of the third quarter. But from the middle of the third quarter on, Kirk Cousins balled out. I will say one more time. That touchdown to Jordan Addison in Philly was a brilliant play by Kirk Cousins for all of his faults and for all of his shortcomings and all of the things that I've said that, I wish he could do better. That play was perfectly done by all 3 facets of the offense. The offensive line blocked it up really well. It was a great play call, and it was a great throw by Kirk Cousins. It was a touch underthrown, actually, and it worked out perfectly because Addison could track it and the defender couldn't. But you had a fake bubble screen to Justin Jefferson with KJ and TJ out there. They ran the fake, and the safety bit over to that side because he had to pick up TJ Hawkinson. Jordan Addison was one-on-one on the other side. Kirk Cousins sensed the pressure, stepped up, and fired the ball down the field. That's what We need to see more of Kirk Cousins. And for the rest of the second half, outside of that 1 3-and-out after the Vikings defense got a 3-and-out on the ensuing Eagles possession, that's the only part of the second half that I could really say didn't go as well as it could have. So, Kirk, this is what we need from you. We need you to play like you played in the second half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter from the start of the game. Is that too much to ask, ladies and gentlemen? That Kirk Cousins goes Kirko change, plays with that fire in his eyes, that fire in his belly, whatever you want to call it, I do not care. Play like that for 4 quarters, particularly in the first half. Get 17 to 21 points on the board by halftime. Just once. Get 3 scores on the board by halftime, or heaven forbid, 4 scores. Not necessarily 7 years ago. Because you do 2 things. 1, you keep your defense off the field. 2, you allow your defense to play aggressively where they can just pin their ears back and say, yeah, go ahead and run on us, because you will take the run game away from them. Now, again, their run game isn't necessarily the best, but get some points on the board. Give yourself margin for error. And instead of having those lulls, those 3-and-outs early on when your defense is still rested, hey, get some long consuming drives going. There is no reason that Kirk Cousins should not have at least 350 yards passing. The Chargers are like either second to last or dead last in passing defense so far. Excuse me. I know it's only 2 games, but they're dead last. I know they got the Bosa guy, and I know they got the bones of Khalil Mack. I mean, not the bones. I mean, he's okay, but he's not in his prime anymore. You should be able to pass up and down the field. Justin Jefferson should have at least 150 yards. Jordan Addison should have 100. TJ Hawkins should have at least 80. Even KJ, I dropped the ball a little too much. Osborne, all due respect, I'm just saying, this entire offense needs to blow up and ball out this weekend. I'm going to get a little bit more to it in my pregame show, so join me at 11 o'clock Central Time. See, I know that one bar is going to have Belly Up to the Bar, and then they're going to take a break before they do their live stream. So in between one bar and their live stream, come on over to Purple and Gold for days, and let me get this chat popping here one more time, because we got to get a W this weekend. There's no 2 ways around it. I mean, you can't sign a guard, trade for a running back, have a home game at noon against one of the worst passing defenses in the entire NFL, if not the worst, through 2 games, and not show out. You got to show out on Sunday. You just got to. Otherwise, oh boy, it's going to be a long week. I'll just quickly recap. By week 7, you will have played Philly, Kansas City, and San Francisco, as well as 4 other teams. You've got to be at least 3-4 by the time you get done with that San Francisco Monday night game. If you can get to 3-4 by the end of week 7, you're still in good shape. Would have preferred 4-3 or 5-2, but that's all right, because you got a 5-game stretch where you should go 4-1, if not 5-0, before you hit your bye week. Okay? So what I'm going to say is this. You got to get this week, and you got to get next week against Carolina. You've got to get back to 2-2 before Kansas City gets here, because if you're 1-3, or dare I say 0-4, staring at 0-5 or 1-4, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a long season. And all these moves we just made will have been for nothing. So let me get to the last round of comments here before I get up out of here, because I know y'all dropped me about 30 of them on my last rant there. Please block better for the run. Needs to be balanced. Yes, sir, Joker. I totally agree. I absolutely agree with you on that. Okay. If Ingram is terrible this Sunday, he's being benched over Reisner, or at least he should be. I totally agree, JDT. I mean, frankly, the only reason I wouldn't start Reisner is because he's probably not in game shape, but I know you don't want to play too much musical chairs with your offensive line, but at some point, with all due respect to Ed Ingram, and I've said this a couple times on my shows, I don't necessarily blame all of it on Ed. He was drafted, and he needed to sit and develop for a year or 2, and the Vikings threw him out there because they had no better options, and it stunted his growth, and he's just is who he is at this point. But I agree. I want the best 5 guys out there. I don't care what the configuration is. I don't care if you bench Ed Ingram. I don't care if you bench Ezra Cleveland. I don't care if you find a way to say, you know what? Dalton's going to be the center. I don't care. I want the 5 best guys out there. I want the 5 best pass blockers, the 5 best run blockers out there. But that's just me. That's just me. San Diego, first team ever to score 50 points and go 0-2. Yeah, they're almost as cursed as bad as we are. If we're being honest, T-Bass and company, they are just, they're just so unlucky. Need to stop turning the ball. Totally agree, Cavalier. Totally agree. That's something that you can correct. As Christian Ponder would say, it's easily correctable. Well, I would say you shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. You came out completely unprepared in weeks 1 and 2, and I don't want to hear about should have been playing guys in the preseason. We didn't play nobody in the preseason last year and came out just fine and destroyed the Green Bay Packers. Okay, fine. We found out that Green Bay wasn't all that good, but compare last year's week 1 Green Bay team to this year's week 1 Tampa Bay team. Green Bay was better. We beat those guys. Yeah, okay, so we had Zadarius Smith then. Big deal. Still should have won that, but we'll see. We'll see. Kevin O'Connell, as I said in the post-game shows that I did last week, he needed to do some soul searching over the mini-bye, and hopefully with the acquisition of Akers and the signing of Dalton Reisner, that they can get this back on track. But I remember that play he had Hawkinson wide open for, but yes, that's what I'm saying. That was a great play, and you know what? Previous versions of Kirk might have taken that. Just taking the 8 to 9 yards to Hawkinson. That's what I'm saying. Kirk has it in him. And that's what drives me crazy about him. He has it in him. He just gets in his own way sometimes. Isn't it a 5% chance? Yeah, I think it's like 3 or 5%. Yeah. But at that point, if we start out 0-3, so what? You beat Carolina, you go to 1-3. You lose to Kansas City to go to 1-4. You beat Chicago 2-4. Lose to San Francisco 2-5. At that point, making the playoffs, what are we going to do with that? I don't know. That's why you got to get this W. You've got to get this W. Absolutely. Totally agree. There too. Rock cannot leave it. No. Keep him off his ass and you make almost every throw. Yeah. When he's not in his own head. It kind of reminds me of he's kind of like Randy in a way that, like, when Randy he would get bored at times. That's why you had to get Randy involved early. You got to get Kirk in rhythm early. You have to get success early, because if he gets some success early, he's fine. But if he doesn't have success until later on, it gets in his head. Now, yeah, someone's going to say, well, in that Philly game, you were down 20 points. So, of course, you were going to be throwing the whole night. And, of course, you were going to find some success because Philly had laxed their defense. There's a little truth to that. But at some point, 3 touchdowns in the second half is 3 touchdowns in the second half. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think the Atlanta is a gimme game anymore either, T-Bass. I said it on Monday. One of the reasons we better shore up this run defense, Bijan Robinson could very easily break Adrian Peterson's single game rushing record if we don't show up that run defense. But you're right. No, they're not a guinea pig anymore. I'm just saying that, like, when I looked at the schedule from the beginning of the season, I said 3-4 through 7, but go 4-1 in that next 5-game stretch. Yeah, but you're right. Atlanta and, frankly, New Orleans is not a gimme either. I'm changing my mind on that Denver game. I originally picked that as a loss, but I'm going to pick that as a win now. Denver's just absolutely terrible, but we'll see. It's only been a couple weeks. Ezra to the right. I don't know whether it's keep Ezra at left and move Dalton to right, or move Ezra to right and put Dalton at left. I don't know, and I don't care. Whatever is the best way to get the best 5 guys on the field, that's what I care about. And by the way, hopefully Christian Darrisaw plays. I know it's an ankle thing, and I know sometimes you toughen it up, but I also don't want him to play out of necessity and then have him get it hurt where now he's out for 6 games either. Must-win game Sunday. Must-win game the next 2 weeks, Mary, but we can only play 1 game at a time. Yes, Mary does. You know what? After the show and after it loads up tomorrow, I'll get some more wrench gang going there. G-Men are marching down the field. Yeah, you know what's funny? I said to myself, okay, go for 20, 25 minutes, but when I get on the mic and you guys come in here and chat with me, I can't keep it under 30 minutes. Well, I'm going to wrap it for now. I'm going to go watch the rest of this game. I got a long day at work tomorrow because we got behind on the payroll, and we got to make sure everybody get paid next Thursday. So I'm just going to say thank you kindly one more time for joining me. Hit the like button on the way out. If you don't already, hit that subscribe button. Share this out with your friends, whether they're Vikings fans or Vikings enemies. Get them on over to Purple and Gold for days. Come out and join me at 11 o'clock Central Time on Sunday for the Purple and Gold pregame show to get you ready. I'll have some more in-depth breakdowns, as well as the fact that we will know who is in and who is out. At what point of the season does the must-win stop? when we're at least 3 games above 500. If you get to 7-5 the bye week, okay, they're not must wins anymore. But the point is that if they lose either one of the next 2 games, your already small margin of error completely evaporates because you've still got San Francisco. I know Cincinnati's not looking good right now, but I still don't trust the Vikings in Cincinnati in December. But we'll talk more about that as it comes. Like I said, we can only play one game at a time, 1 week at a time. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments on the way out. Don't put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. Anybody going to the game this weekend, let me know. The Giants scored. They did. 17-12. All right. The Giants are saying, hey, it was no fluke. We came back against the worst team in the NFL last season in the Arizona. That Arizona Cardinals are so bad. 28-7 in the second half and lose that game. That's just unbelievable. But thank you kindly, everybody, for joining me. I very, very much appreciate it. It is absolutely humbling that I could just throw on this mic and have 20, 25 people up in the building. Thank you so much. Like I said, like, comment. If y'all don't already subscribe, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock Central Time. Until now, as always, SKOL to the next episode. Good night.